this is Arunava Chaudhuri and you are on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. Today I want to talk about the meeting which was held in Delhi at actually Aero City, just outside of the airport on August the 7th between the All India Football Federation, FSDL Reliance and the ISL Clubs. A meeting which I would say finally happened, and I welcome that such an interaction and that platform happened, because it was the first time that the president of the All India Football Federation in Kalyan Chaubey interacted in his 35 months in charge of the federation with the top tier clubs of the country on one platform, as well as FSDL Reliance. That's the positive. Now, where are we stuck? The Supreme Court of India has to decide on the new constitution of the All India Football Federation. That hasn't happened in years. And before going into their summer holidays, the Supreme Court said that the All India Football Federation cannot negotiate with Reliance the renewal of the Master Rights Agreement. That means that the MRA runs out on December the 8th, 2025, in the middle of the 2025-2026 season. I have warned over 2 years ago that the All India Football Federation should not lose time, because they needed to decide, in my opinion, either you get into negotiations and extend the MRA for 10 or maybe even more years, or you try and find an alternative solution. Now what happened? The Supreme Court created a situation that the MRA could not be extended. Even an interim MRA to say, you know what, we extend the MRA until May 2026 and let the 2025-2026 ISL season happen. A lot of clubs didn't take it seriously, but they all now know. We've heard from Odisha FC, from Bengaluru FC, from Chennaiyin FC, that they have ceased the operations of their first team. It's a huge step. And now this meeting happened where my hope was that the clubs actually honestly, openly speak and tell the AIFF, as well as the present FSDL and Reliance, about their situation, about thousands of jobs which could potentially be lost if the ISL is not played. That it hurts the Indian football pyramid, that it hurts Indian football in general. But if you listen to the press conference afterward of Kalyan Chaubey and the representatives from the clubs, my biggest fear has come true, that I don't have a good feeling, if I'm very, very honest. And this meeting, there wasn't a realization of how much danger it is. The AIFF suggested, says, you know what, the Indian national team has a lot of things to play for, especially October. You know what, we have to play against Singapore. Can't we hold the Super Cup before that in September? You could. But when will the ISL be played? The big question wasn't putting in a Super Cup or putting in some temporary competition. The question on the mind of all Indian Super League clubs is, if and when will or could the ISL 2025-2026 start? And to that, the AIFF and its president or its top brass leadership couldn't have an answer. Just impossible, because it is out of their hands. The AIFF is not in charge of deciding what happens to the MRA and what happens to the Indian Super League. So this meeting, as I say, is good that it happened. It should have happened earlier. I think also this kind of a meeting should happen every season, at the start of the season, just to coordinate amongst different stakeholders. But to say, you know what, let's hold the Super Cup, and then later on, yeah, the ISL will happen, or something of a league. I find it very, very dangerous, Kalyan, that you make such a statement where you are not in charge and you are not in control of things. Because you can't guarantee that the ISL will be held. And what is very, very clear to me is that the clubs will go home and they won't be any wiser than yesterday morning when they reached Aero City. As I said, my feelings, I don't have a good feeling. And I'm very, very worried about the future of the Indian Super League. I'm worried about the future of the livelihoods of the people involved in the Indian Super League. And I'm very, very worried about the future of Indian football, of Indian club football. Because this is something that is hurting Indian football. Because anyone who's interested to invest or pour money into Indian football will think not twice or thrice. At the moment, will most probably say, you know what, not a good time to invest. Let me stay out of it. And those are the alarming signs of the situation. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? You've got something else to add? Write those down in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com. And I'll be back very, very soon. So Arunava Chaudhuri signing off. Bye for now.